Thank you for joining us. Here are the weekly highlights of Arakan. Junta replaces Western Command Chief as analysts warn of intensified clashes on Arakan front. Regime recruits Kyaukphyu youths for military intelligence roles. 2 IDPs killed in Junta airstrike on displacement camp in Ramree. Regime pledges to restore full electricity supply to Manaung this fiscal year. 3 women charged with human trafficking over Mrauk-U KTV operation. Arakan Army releases 89 Maungdaw villagers detained after recruitment dispute. For over 2 years, the fires of conflict have swept across Arakan state as the Arakan Army relentlessly presses forward with its offensives against the Myanmar junta. Between June 1st and June 7th of 2026, the region witnessed critical shifts on both the front lines and the home front. Here are the key developments shaping the rapidly escalating military and humanitarian situation in Arakan. Junta replaces Western Command Chief as analysts warn of intensified clashes on Arakan front. Clashes could intensify on the Arakan front after the regime replaced Major General Joso with Major General Joso as the command of the Arakan state-based Western Command. Military analysts said the new Western Command, Major General Joso, is a graduate of Defense Services Academy Intake 43 and is reportedly the youngest among the current regional military commanders. He previously served as the Commander of Military Operations Command No. 7, MOC-7, based in Pakhon, Southern Shan State. Military analysts believe that because Major General Joso achieved some military successes in Cayenne State, the regime could launch more offensive operations in Arakan State. Although the regime wants to launch an offensive on Ponnagyun town, which is closest to Sittwe, junta forces have been unable to advance due to the combat capabilities and deterrence of the Arakan Army. Currently, intense clashes are taking place on the border between Sittwe and Ponnagyun townships, and military sources said the regime is using heavy artillery and carrying out airstrikes on some villages in Ponnagyun and Rakhine townships. The regime is attempting to launch offensives from Chin State, Magwe, Bago, and Ayawadi regions, which border Arakan State, and is continuously reinforcing troops in Kyaukphyu and Sittwe townships. After the Arakan Army captured the Western Command at An Town in December 2024, the Western Command was relocated to the Military Operations Command Headquarters in Sittwe Town, from where it currently commands 3 towns in Arakan State. Regime recruits Kyaukphyu youths for military intelligence roles. The Myanmar regime is reportedly recruiting youths in urban Kyaukphyu, Arakan State, for its military intelligence wing, known as the Office of the Chief of Military Service Affairs, OCMSA. According to the local residents, the regime is targeting youths over the age of 16 from urban wards and nearby villages, enticing them with promises of becoming civil servants despite having only a 4th grade education. Residents said the regime is offering higher salaries than other government departments and telling recruits they can serve either as intelligent personnel within the department or as freelance informants. Military intelligence is responsible for monitoring domestic and foreign military affairs as well as security-related matters. The agency operates directly under the military, and its personnel are usually appointed from within the armed forces. Local residents believe the regime is attempting to use Arakanese youths as informants to gather intelligence from within Arakan State, rather than permanently appointing them as official staff members. Some observers also view the recruitment campaign as part of the regime's broader efforts to extend military conscription and recruit additional personnel. Fighting remains intense between regime forces and the Arakan Army in Kyaukphyu Township. The regime has continued reinforcing the town with naval, air, and ground forces in an effort to prevent it from falling under Arakan Army control. IDPs killed in junta airstrike on displacement camp in Ramree. 2 internally displaced persons, IDPs, were killed after the Myanmar military regime carried out an airstrike on a displaced site in Ramree Township, Arakan State, according to local residents. The regime used a jet fighter to bomb an IDP shelter located near the foot of Mount Bene in Ramree Township at around 8:30 p.m. on June 1st. The latest attack came just days after another junta airstrike on a road repair site along the Ramree-Kyaukphyu border on the 28th of May, which killed 3 people, including a backhoe driver, and injured 7 others. On the morning of June 1st, the regime also launched airstrikes near Kindang and Sabian villages in Tangkon Township using 6 aircraft, including jet fighters and Y-12 transport planes. Fighting between the regime forces and the Arakan Army continues in Kyaukphyu Township, while the military has repeatedly targeted civilian populated areas with airstrikes, heavy artillery shelling, and drone attacks, according to local reports. Residents displaced from Ramree and Kyaukphyu townships are currently sheltering in safer locations, though many say they still face constant security threats due to ongoing junta attacks. Regime pledges to restore full electricity supply to Manaung this fiscal year. The military regime has pledged to repair the power plant supplying electricity to Manaung town in Arakan state in an effort to restore power access. Junta appointed Deputy Minister for Electricity and Energy, Kyaukphyu, told a lower house parliamentary session on June 2nd that work would be carried out during the 2026-2027 fiscal year to provide full electricity access to urban wards and some villages in Manaung Township. The Junta Deputy Minister was responding to a parliamentary question raised by the lower house lawmaker, Kyaukphyu, who represents Manaung Township constituency. Regarding full electricity access for wards and villages in the township, a solar power plant was built in Kyaukphyu village in 2019 to provide 24-hour electricity to Manaung Township. Electricity was distributed to 5 urban wards and 4 villages. However, those wards and villages are currently divided into 2 zones, with electricity supplied on a rotating basis for 1 hour and 15 minutes during the day and 1 hour 30 minutes in the evening. Due to machinery failures at the solar power plant and Kyaukphyu village since 2022, electricity distribution was suspended for a period before limited service resumed in 2023. As Manaung is an island township, it is the only township in Arakan State that has not experienced direct impacts from the latest fighting. The regime continues to maintain full control of Manaung Township, though the flow of commodities remains restricted. 3 women charged with human trafficking over Mrauk-U KTV operation. 3 women, including the owner of the Sittwe KTV in Mrauk ward, Mrauk Township, has been arrested and charged under anti-human trafficking laws, according to the Department of Law Enforcement and Public Security, DLEPS. In a statement, DLEPS said the operators of Sittwe KTV used the entertainment venue as a front for prostitution and financial exploitation, leading to their prosecution under Section 35 of the Prevention of Human Trafficking Act. The 3 women were identified as KTV owner Do Kim Momo Win, 56, manager Do Lala Win, 45, and assistant manager Do Piepie Win, 42. Again reports that women were being sexually exploited, held against their will without pay, and forced into prostitution. The LEPS personnel raided the Sittwe KTV on May 24. During the raid, authorities detained the 3 suspects along with 10 women allegedly forced to work at the KTV, several male patrons, and seized material evidence linked to the prostitution operation, according to the LEPS. The statement said the managers of Sittwe KTV took advantage of the socioeconomic hardships faced by young women in Arakan State, forcing them into prostitution and commercial sex work while exploiting their earnings. The LEPS said legal action against the 3 women will proceed in accordance with the law. The department reiterated that anyone involved in human trafficking offenses against women and children in Arakan State will face prosecution under Section 35 of the Prevention of Human Trafficking Act. Arakan Army releases 89 Maungdaw villagers detained after recruitment dispute. The Arakan Army released 89 of more than 100 residents of Thimbola village on June 2nd following a dispute over military recruitment in Maungdaw Township. The Arakan Army detained more than 100 villagers on 24th of May after a confrontation broke out between Thimbola residents and the Arakan Army personnel during a recruitment drive conducted under the National Defense Emergency Provision, NDEP. Local residents said that while most detainees have been released, 25 people remain in custody. Those released reportedly include youths, women, and elderly villagers. On 27th of May, 12 ethnic Chakma organizations issued a joint statement calling for the immediate release of the Thimbola villagers detained by the Arakan Army. The statement alleged that Arakan Army personnel fired warning shots and assaulted villagers, injuring several residents, including pregnant women. Arakan Army spokesperson Ukhaituka told DMG that incident resulted from a misunderstanding after a crowd attempted to incite unrest, leading to temporary detentions. He added that officials had thoroughly explained national defense responsibilities to those involved so that they could gain a proper understanding. The Maungdaw District Chakma Ethnic Affairs Committee also issued a statement on May 31st, saying it was working to help resolve the military recruitment dispute and restore stability. In northern Maungdaw border villages near Bangladesh, including Kyaukphyu Lewe, Mitei, Thimbola, Antaya, and Nadadang, Muslim armed groups such as the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, ARSA, Rohingya Solidarity Organization RSO, and Arakan Rohingya Army ARA remain active. Reports indicate that these groups have carried out killings targeting local Arakanese and ethnic minority communities. That concludes our overview of this week's defining events across Arakan State. As the situation continues to unfold, we'll be back next Tuesday to bring you the vital stories and updates shaping the region. Stay tuned and stay informed. May all people of Arakan and the world stay healthy and safe.